It was her worst nightmare come true. She couldn't cross. She couldn't cross the bridge, not if her life depended on it. Christy Huddleston managed a grim smile. Bridge? It was not a bridge at all. Just two huge, uneven logs with a few thin boards nailed across them here and there. A deadly layer of ice coated the logs and boards. Far below, frigid water swirled past and around and over jagged chunks of ice and razor-sharp rocks. Christy took a step closer to the bridge. The whole contraption swayed in the biting wind. Her stomach swirled and bucked. She had never liked heights, but this was impossible. She looked across to her guide, Ben Pentland, on the other side of the swollen creek. The mailman gazed at her doubtfully. He'd told her she wouldn't be able to make this 7-mile journey through rough, snowy terrain. "Too hard a walk for a city gal," he'd said, and now she wondered if he'd been right. "Stomp your feet," Mr. Pentland called. "Get 'em warm. Then come on, but first scrape your boots, then hike up your skirts." Christy hesitated. She could no longer feel her toes inside her rubber boots. Her long skirts, wet almost to her knees, were half frozen. Mr. Pentland shook his head. "Can't get to where you're going without crossing this bridge." His words hung in the brittle air. Not for the first time that day, Christy wondered if she'd made a terrible mistake coming to this place. What was she doing here? Deep in the Tennessee mountains in the middle of winter, heading off to a world she'd never seen before. Teaching school to poor mountain children had seemed like a fine idea in the cozy warmth of her home back in Asheville, North Carolina, but now Christy fingered the locket her father had given her before she'd left Asheville. Inside was a little picture of her parents and one of Christy and her brother George. No one in her family had understood why she'd felt she had to come to this wild and lonely place to teach at a mission school. And now, she wasn't so sure herself. "Guess you ain't crossed a bridge like this before," said Mr. Pentland. "No," Christy agreed, forcing an unsteady smile. She took a deep breath, then put one foot on a log. It swayed a little. Her boot sent a piece of bark flying. She watched it as it twirled down, falling the 12 feet to the water. The water snatched at the bit of wood and sped it away. Another step, and she was on the bridge. The sound of the water became a roar in her ears. There was no turning back now. "You're doing fine," came Mr. Pentland's soothing voice. "Keep a-comin'. Not far now." Not far now? It seemed he was 100 miles away, safe on the far side. The log swayed and tilted. Christy stared at her feet as she struggled with her heavy, wet dress. Another step. Another. With great effort, she forced herself to look at Mr. Pentland. She was halfway there. She was going to make it. Another step and another. The far side was... Her boot slid on a crosspiece. She clutched at empty air for support that was not there, slipped and landed hard on her knees. She clung as best she could to the icy log. Mr. Pentland was shouting something and coming out to her. She crawled another few inches toward him. Why am I here? Risking my life to get to a place I've never seen? Some sensible part of herself kept asking, why is teaching so important to me? Had it only been yesterday that she'd stepped aboard the train to Tennessee so confident and full of hope? Christy's mind raced as she slowly crawled toward Mr. Pentland.